They say soup is the ultimate comfort food. It's what we reach for when we're sick, cold, or just needing something warm to soothe the soul. It simmers on the stove like a memory, full of love, tradition, and healing intentions. But what if I told you that your favorite soup recipe, the one passed down from grandma, or the one you grab at the grocery store because it says heart healthy, might actually be contributing to your joint pain, inflammation, and long-term mobility issues? It sounds almost offensive, doesn't it? Soup is supposed to be good for you. But here's the hard truth. Not all soup is healing. Some are hurting you. Quietly, slowly, spoonful by spoonful. This story isn't meant to scare you away from enjoying your favorite bowl. Instead, it's a wake-up call. Because what we put in our soup can either help rebuild our joints or silently tear them down. Let's take a closer look at how that works, and why seniors in particular need to be more cautious. Soup in the aging body. Why ingredients matter more than ever. As we age, our joints face a natural decline. Cartilage thins. Synovial fluid dries up. Inflammation becomes chronic rather than temporary. And the small daily choices we make, like what we eat for lunch, begin to matter much more than they did in our 20s. For older adults, joint health equals independence. When knees ache or hips stiffen, it becomes harder to walk, stand, exercise, or even sleep comfortably. That stiffness you feel getting out of bed, that cracking in your shoulder when you reach for a shelf, that's your body crying out for support or crying out because of something you're unknowingly doing wrong. Unfortunately, soup is often treated like a safe food, when in fact, it can be one of the biggest hidden sources of pro-inflammatory ingredients that exacerbate arthritis, autoimmune flare-ups, and joint degeneration. It all comes down to what's inside that warm, cozy bowl. So let's begin our journey through the 10 most common soup ingredients that science has linked to joint destruction, starting with the most overlooked and most dangerous of them all. Ingredient number 1. Excess sodium, the silent joint saboteur. Let's talk about salt. Most people associate sodium with blood pressure, but few realize that high sodium intake contributes directly to joint inflammation. Here's how it works. Sodium increases the water content of your body's tissues, including your joints. This can lead to joint swelling and stiffness, especially in individuals who already suffer from arthritis or degenerative joint conditions. But that's just the beginning. Excess sodium also triggers an immune response, increasing production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, chemical messengers that worsen pain and stiffness in the joints. Most canned soups, even the low-sodium ones, contain over 700 milligrams of sodium per serving, and many people unknowingly eat 2 servings in one sitting. If you're having soup as comfort food during a cold or after surgery, that salt load can quietly aggravate the very inflammation you're trying to ease. What to do instead? Choose low-sodium or no-salt-added broths as a base. Add flavor using herbs, garlic, turmeric, and black pepper. Taste before salting, and use iodized sea salt in moderation. Ingredient number 2, nightshade vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, and white potatoes. Ever feel joint pain flare up after a hearty bowl of tomato-based soup? You're not imagining it. Nightshade vegetables, including tomatoes, bell peppers, chili peppers, and white potatoes, contain a compound called solanine, which has been shown in some studies to trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. While not everyone reacts to nightshades, people with rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis often notice an increase in joint discomfort after consuming these ingredients regularly. Unfortunately, nightshades are common in many popular soups: tomato bisque, minestrone, chili, and vegetable stews. Even that potato leek soup you love may be stirring up your joints more than your appetite. What to do instead? Try sweet potatoes instead of white potatoes. Use carrots or squash instead of peppers. Make your own tomato-free red sauces with beets and carrots. Ingredient number 3, processed meats, sausages, deli ham, and bacon bits. A bowl of split pea soup with ham. Lentil stew with sausage. Chowder with bacon. Delicious? Yes. Healing? Not quite. Processed meats are a major source of advanced glycation end products ages, compounds that form when proteins or fats combine with sugar in the bloodstream. These ages are directly linked to increased oxidative stress and joint inflammation. Additionally, Processed meats are often preserved with nitrates and high levels of sodium, both of which contribute to inflammation and can worsen arthritis pain over time. What's more, some of the saturated fats found in these meats have been shown to alter gut microbiota, leading to a leaky gut scenario, where particles escape the digestive tract and trigger systemic inflammation, including in your joints. What to do instead? Use shredded chicken, turkey, or lentils as lean protein sources. Flavor with smoked paprika or liquid smoke instead of bacon. If you must use meat, choose uncured, nitrate-free options. Ingredient number 4, butter and heavy cream, the slippery slope of rich soups. Creamy soups are comforting, but that rich texture often comes at a cost. Many creamy chowders, bisques, or loaded soups rely on butter, heavy cream, or half and half, which are high in saturated fats that increase systemic inflammation, especially in people with pre-existing joint conditions. Research has shown that diets high in saturated fats can stimulate the release of interleukin-6, IL-6, one of the major cytokines responsible for chronic inflammation in the joints. While a little bit of fat is essential for nutrient absorption, overdoing it, especially with full-fat dairy, can slowly turn your healing soup into a pro-inflammatory bomb. What to do instead? Swap heavy cream with unsweetened almond milk or coconut milk. Use pureed cauliflower, carrots, or white beans to create creaminess. Add richness through olive oil or avocado oil, which are anti-inflammatory. Ingredient number 5, refined carbs, noodles, rice, and white flour thickeners. Carbs aren't evil, but the kind of carbs we use in soup can make a huge difference. White rice, pasta, and flour-based thickeners, like a roux made from white flour and butter, break down quickly into sugar in the body. That sugar spike doesn't just affect blood sugar. It also contributes to inflammation, especially in the joints. Even worse, these refined carbohydrates provide little to no nutrients that support joint health. They displace more healing ingredients like collagen, fiber, and antioxidants. Studies have found that high glycemic diets, those rich in refined carbs, are associated with higher levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a key marker of inflammation in the body. What to do instead? Replace noodles with spiralized zucchini or chickpea pasta. Use quinoa, barley, or wild rice instead of white rice. Thicken soups naturally using blended veggies or oat flour. We revealed how 5 common soup ingredients, from excess sodium to refined carbs, can quietly worsen joint pain, stiffness, and inflammation. These aren't fringe concerns. They're everyday ingredients found in countless bowls across America. But the story doesn't end there, because the next 5 ingredients are even sneakier. They wear health halos. They hide in labels you think are safe. They pretend to nourish while slowly breaking down the very joints you count on to move, lift, walk, and live. So grab your favorite mug, maybe a notepad, and let's finish what we started. Because once you see what's really hiding in your soup, you may never look at a grocery store shelf the same way again. Ingredient number 6, artificial flavors and MSG, the inflammation triggers disguised as flavor enhancers. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, has long been controversial. But one thing is clear. In sensitive individuals, it's been shown to increase inflammation markers, especially in people with autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis. And here's the catch. MSG isn't always labeled clearly. In many cases, it appears under aliases like yeast extract, hydrolyzed protein, natural flavoring, disodium inositol, autolyzed yeast. These compounds stimulate taste receptors and give soup that addictive umami punch. But for many older adults, they may also stimulate an immune response, leading to headaches, joint pain, swelling, and brain fog. And it's not just MSG. Many artificial flavors are created from synthetic chemicals that mimic natural compounds, but your body knows the difference. Over time, your liver and immune system are burdened by these foreign substances, and the resulting inflammation can worsen joint stiffness and fatigue. What to do instead? Make soup from scratch with herbs, garlic, onion, and mushrooms for real umami. Use bone broth or miso as a natural flavor base. Read labels carefully. Avoid vague terms like flavoring or spices when possible. Ingredient number 7, vegetable oils, the hidden source of chronic inflammation. Think all vegetable oils are healthy? Think again. Many soups, especially store-bought or restaurant varieties, use cheap oils like soybean oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, or canola oil. These oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which in excess can tip the body into a pro-inflammatory state. Here's the science. Omega-6 and omega-3s compete for the same enzymes in your body. And while omega-6s are essential in small amounts, the typical Western diet is imbalanced, with 10x to 20x more omega-6s than omega-3s. That imbalance is directly tied to joint inflammation, arthritis progression, and even autoimmune activity. Over time, using these oils in daily cooking or soup preparation can lead to chronic joint issues without you ever realizing the source. What to do instead? Cook with extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil. Avoid soups that list vegetable oil or soybean oil high on the label. At restaurants, ask if the soup is made with butter or oil and request a dairy-free broth if needed. Ingredient number 8, store-bought broth, the deceptive base that's anything but healing. Walk into any store, you'll find rows of chicken broth, beef broth, vegetable stock, all promising rich flavor and warmth. But take a closer look at the labels. Most store-bought broths are loaded with sodium, artificial flavors, sugar, and preservatives like potassium sorbate or disodium guanylate. Even the ones labeled organic or natural often contain added yeast extracts, MSG under new name, coloring agents, and barely any real nutrients. What's missing? Collagen, gelatin, minerals, all the things that make homemade bone broth such a powerful tool for joint support and connective tissue healing. Instead of healing your joints, many packaged broths may be silently making things worse, especially if you rely on them regularly in your cooking. What to do instead? Make homemade bone broth using chicken or beef bones, vinegar, and herbs. Simmer for 8 to 24 hours to extract collagen and minerals. Freeze in portions so you always have joint-friendly broth on hand. Ingredient number 9, hidden sugars, the sweet saboteurs lurking in savory foods. Yes, sugar, in your soup. It might surprise you to learn that many canned or packaged soups contain added sugars, even when the flavor is savory. Tomato soup is the biggest offender, with some brands packing over 10 grams of sugar per cup. That's more than some breakfast cereals. Why does that matter? Because sugar fuels inflammation. Excess sugar consumption leads to a spike in blood glucose and insulin, which in turn stimulates the production of inflammatory cytokines, contributing to joint swelling, cartilage breakdown, and increased pain sensitivity. In fact, high sugar intake is associated with elevated levels of uric acid, a compound that can crystallize in the joints and lead to gout, an intensely painful form of arthritis. And we're not just talking about white sugar. Watch for these ingredients too. Dextrose, high fructose corn syrup solids, maltodextrin. What to do instead? Make soups from scratch with naturally sweet ingredients like carrots, onions, or apples. Avoid brands with any form of added sugar in the top 5 ingredients. Let your palate adjust. Real food doesn't need extra sweetness. Ingredient number 10, bouillon cubes and powdered soup mixes, concentrated inflammation bombs. It's easy. It's fast. 1 cube, 1 packet, and boom, you've got instant flavor. But at what cost? Bouillon cubes and powdered soup mixes are often ultra-processed, packed with MSG hydrogenated oils, synthetic preservatives, and sky-high sodium levels. Some also contain trans fats in the form of partially hydrogenated oil, which have been conclusively linked to increased inflammation, joint pain, heart disease, and even cognitive decline. Trans fats are so dangerous that many countries have banned them, yet they can still sneak into shelf-stable soup mixes, especially imported or budget brands. And even if the label says 0 trans fats, products are legally allowed to contain up to 0.5 g per serving and round it down. That adds up fast, especially for something you use regularly in cooking. What do instead? Skip the cube and use real ingredients: garlic, onions, herbs, salt, and pepper. If you need a shortcut, look for bouillon paste made from real meat and no preservatives. Avoid anything with hydrogenated or autolyzed on the label. The good news is, soup can also be one of the most powerful healing tools in your kitchen. When built with the right ingredients, it becomes more than comfort food. It becomes functional medicine. Whether you're managing arthritis, healing from injury, or simply trying to stay active and independent as you age, the right nutrients can restore mobility, reduce pain, and rebuild connective tissue from the inside out. Let's dive into 8 soup ingredients backed by science that support joint repair, flexibility, and long-term strength, especially for aging adults. 1. Bone broth, the collagen-rich foundation. Bone broth isn't just trendy, it's a clinical powerhouse. When bones are simmered for hours with vinegar, they release collagen, gelatin, glucosamine, chondroitin, and key minerals like magnesium, calcium, and phosphorus. These compounds directly support joint cartilage, tendons, and synovial fluid. Studies show that collagen supplementation can reduce joint pain, especially in the knees and hips, and may even slow cartilage loss over time. Why it works: provides building blocks for cartilage and connective tissue. Contains gelatin, which improves joint lubrication. Helps soothe inflammation in the gut, which reduces systemic inflammation. How to use it: simmer beef or chicken bones with a splash of vinegar for 12 to 24 hours. Add herbs, garlic, and veggies for flavor. Freeze in portions and use as the base for any soup. 2. Anti-inflammatory herbs: turmeric, ginger, rosemary. Inflammation is the root of most joint pain, so why not fight at the source? Certain herbs contain bioactive compounds that interrupt the body's inflammatory pathways without the side effects of NSAIDs. Turmeric contains curcumin, which blocks COX, 2 enzymes linked to joint swelling. Ginger reduces stiffness and soreness, especially in osteoarthritis. Rosemary has rosmarinic acid, a compound shown to reduce inflammatory cytokines. How to use them: simmer fresh ginger slices or turmeric root in broth. Add rosemary sprigs during cooking, then remove before serving. Combine with black pepper and olive oil to boost absorption. 3. Leafy greens: kale, spinach, and Swiss chard. Dark leafy greens are rich in antioxidants, vitamin C, vitamin K, and calcium, all essential for joint health and bone support. Vitamin K, in particular, plays a role in directing calcium to the bones rather than joints, reducing the risk of calcification and stiffness. Meanwhile, antioxidants in greens help neutralize free radicals that damage joint tissue over time. Pro tip: sauté your greens briefly before adding them to soup to break down oxalates and improve nutrient absorption. 4. Lentils and legumes: plant-based protein and fiber. Muscles support joints, and strong muscles equals stable joints. That's why soups with legumes like lentils, chickpeas, and black beans are so powerful. They offer plant-based protein for muscle maintenance, magnesium and potassium for joint flexibility, fiber to feed gut bacteria and reduce inflammation. Plus, legumes help regulate blood sugar, which indirectly supports joint health by preventing insulin-driven inflammation. Try this. Make a lentil curry soup with turmeric, ginger, garlic, and carrots for a potent anti-inflammatory meal. 5. Garlic and onions: nature's inflammation fighters. Members of the allium family, garlic and onions are rich in sulfur compounds and quercetin, both of which have been shown to inhibit inflammatory enzymes and improve immune response. Garlic has also demonstrated mild analgesic, pain-reducing properties, making it a great addition to soup for those with aching joints. And onions? They're one of the highest food sources of quercetin, which can protect cartilage and connective tissue. Best way to use: sauté slowly at the beginning of cooking to unlock full flavor and bioavailability. 6. Carrots, beets, and sweet potatoes: root veggies that nourish and rebuild. Bright orange and red vegetables are loaded with beta-carotene, vitamin A, and polyphenol that support tissue repair and reduce oxidative stress in the joints. They're also rich in soluble fiber, which supports gut health, a key factor in controlling autoimmune inflammation that attacks the joints. Beets improve blood flow to the extremities. Sweet potatoes support collagen production. Carrots provide powerful antioxidants for tissue regeneration. Add them to any soup, roasted first or pureed for a velvety base. 7. Fatty fish or omega-3 oils, essential for joint lubrication. As discussed in other health stories, omega-3 fatty acids found in fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are crucial for joint flexibility and reduced stiffness. Their anti-inflammatory properties are well documented and have been shown to rival the effectiveness of ibuprofen in some arthritis patients, without the side effects. Soup ideas. Add flaked salmon to miso broth with kale and seaweed. Stir in a spoonful of fish oil or flaxseed oil after cooking. Never boil oils directly. 8. Citrus and bell peppers. Vitamin C for collagen support. Collagen doesn't work alone. It needs vitamin C and plenty of it to be synthesized and maintained properly in the body. Bell peppers, citrus fruits, parsley, and even broccoli are great sources of this collagen cofactor, and they help prevent collagen breakdown under stress or inflammation. Add at the end of cooking to preserve heat-sensitive nutrients. A healing soup in action. The joint rebuilder recipe. Try this powerful anti-inflammatory soup at home. Ingredients. For cups homemade bone broth. 1 cup chopped kale. 1 sweet potato, diced. 1 cup cooked lentils. 1/2 onion, finely chopped. 2 garlic cloves, minced. 1 teaspoon turmeric plus pinch of black pepper. 1 teaspoon grated fresh ginger. 1 tablespoon olive oil. 1/2 lemon, juiced. Salt to taste. Instructions. Sauté onion, garlic, turmeric, and ginger in olive oil until fragrant. Add broth, sweet potato, and lentils. Simmer for 20 minutes until veggies are soft. Stir in kale, lemon juice, and adjust salt. Serve warm with love, not preservatives. Your soup can be medicine or a mistake. What you eat every day becomes your body. And nowhere is that more true than with soup, a dish that seems harmless but can either help or hurt depending on what's in pot.